the child who, maybe has some disabilities or learning disorders can at least step outside of themselves enough, that's a tall order for some, to be able to see the world from a parent's perspective just as much as you want the world to see what you see from your perspective. That kind of changes how we come to anything, and that truly has nothing to do with special needs or neurodivergence or anything. This is a people problem that can be solved in that way. We generally have a misunderstanding about not just how other people think, but even from the basis, the worldview that they come from. There's this little didactic story about two guys in the Alaskan wilderness who are one night in a bar, tavern, or whatever, arguing over the existence of God. And one is an atheist and one is religious, and they're kind of arguing. They're a couple beers in, and they're arguing significantly. And the atheist says to the religious guy, "Hey, it's not like I haven't delved into the existence of whether or not God is here. I mean, just last month, I was out in the wilderness, and the temperature dropped, and it started snowing, and I got disoriented, and I couldn't find my way back to camp. And so I prayed to God, it would be really cool if you could help me out here." And of course, the religious guy's like stunned, like, well, the fact that you're sitting here a month later absolutely proves that God exists. But then he was like, "Oh no, man, it was just two Eskimos found me and helped me get back to camp." But the humor of it is that both have an unusual perspective about what's happening or what happened to them, but it's all based on a certain view of the world. And if any kid could encourage their parent, it is give enough space in your head to consider that there is another way of viewing things that you can't see right now. And I promise you, we're thinking about it when our kid has a meltdown in the middle of a crowded grocery store because we skipped one of the aisles that we were supposed to be going up and down, and their methodology in their brain says, we skipped an aisle, we have to go back down that one. And you're like, no, I don't need anything on that aisle. And they completely melt down. You want everyone else in the room to understand, my child has autism. He has to step on every brick. He has to be on every aisle. He has to have certain things a certain way. We parents want that from other people. And our first default mechanism is to observe the world through our own eyes only and not know what that is. So if a kid, if a young person or even an adult who has family members who need to be able to understand this, they've got to ask them to see the world through someone else's eyes. And that it may not necessarily be that child's. I've learned how to see other people in a different way because of Dane's autism, because I saw how he was being treated in various scenarios. I saw how we as a family were being treated in other scenarios, and I knew that people had gotten it all wrong. Well, I wonder if there's any places that I get it wrong because I have assumed that person who cut me off is just a jerk on the road, but maybe perhaps they're headed to the hospital with a way bigger need than I have. You can do this in like hundreds of scenarios in your daily life, and that ability to step outside of yourself and see the world from someone else's perspective, I think is a key component to adding depth to people, and might actually help if the child is needing to have that conversation with their parents. This is what they got to ask for. I mean, as somebody who's not special in any way and no special needs, I'm not a savant of any kind. I don't have that ability to literally know exactly how he feels, but it goes a long way to sit and listen to what he thinks or what anyone thinks as a means of understanding. The empathy, I think, is the main key word that is required.